And we are back. We are
Here we
back.
are. We have arrived yet again.
We have
We have
arrived yet again back in the land in different backgrounds than last week for both of us.
True. I was gonna say you were in a different location last week, and so was I. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we just change up, but welcome back. I think we should do intros, don't we? My name is Kenya, and
And
my
I'm
name is
Keishawn.
and we're Kenya Keishaan, and this is Black Her Story.
And here we are.
And here we are. We got a good topic today, Keishawn. And
really do.
Yeah, I've already stirred up a couple of people. I did an IG live and there was a
Nice. I
lot
know
of
I missed that.
controversy. It's all right.
I'm very curious to hear about it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of controversial as far as this notion of focusing on our dreams versus focusing on our purpose. So we titled it Focus on Dreams and Stop Chasing Purpose, yay or nay. And so we definitely want to hear from our audience today. Definitely want to hear what y'all think about this. If you, and I'll give some backstory in a minute. But yeah, we want this to be interactive. We're here every Thursday night at this time, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. And just as a blurb, I'm a holistic wellness coach and an astrology self-care coach. We were just talking about some astrology with
Yeah, book a reading. If you haven't already, you guys need to book a reading with Kenya.
You do. It's really, really cool. And I'm also a singer-songwriter. So Keishawn, you want to say a little bit about your background and then you can kick
Yes. I am Keishawn Rains, and I am the Calm Coach. And I am a wellness advocate, a peer support specialist, and also a personal coach and consultant. The work that I do is primarily centered around teaching people, mostly women, but teaching people in general just best practices to create a sense of calm or really to create a sense of well-being in their lives, in their businesses, in their relationships, etc. And I do this every Thursday with Kenya, amongst several other things. I just thought about this the other day. I was like, I do a lot of things, and sometimes I forget how to put everything in a cute little box and say, boom, this is what I do. And I don't know that I'm meant to do that anymore. So I'm what some would call a multi-hyphenate. So I manage lots of different tasks and assignments and programs and projects. And I just got pulled into another project this week. So that's exciting.
And now I know why, because Aries is in your sixth house. But anyway, we're gonna get now it makes complete sense why you are so activated. It is Aries season. So
together.
If you are an Aries, happy birthday. I know there's been some, so give us some love. Let us know if it's your birthday or whatever. We want to say happy or whatever to you. So we always start off with a current event or hot topic. It may not even be current, but just something hot in our minds. And then we're going to go into our topic. But do you have a hot topic today?
I was thinking about this today, and a lot of my hot topics are going to be centered around technology because I like it. There's a bill that's being floated through Congress right now. I think it's Bill SB 286 or something along those lines. Don't quote me on the number, but essentially there's a bill that's being considered by Congress right now that would drastically affect the freedom that we currently have on the internet. So not just on like an app, like I talked a little bit about last week, but this bill, if passed, would essentially give the government the opportunity to sanction internet access in a very drastic way. It would change the way that we do things like this potentially. It would change the way that we stream content in our homes. It would change the way we interact on social media and so on. So it's one journalist kind of compared it to when the Patriot Act passed shortly after 9/11, how it drastically shifted the government's right to be able to surveil its citizens. This would tip the scales of how the internet is utilized and the freedoms within it. So that was a hot topic that I looked at a little bit this week.
Yeah, I will say this. And so I guess what I will be is the resident astrology student. There's going to be a lot of talking about technology in interesting and weird ways. Just get get used to this. We're entering in a season or an age where we're going to see a lot of interesting technology things, whether that be that people are going to be really pushing against it, people doing new systems, creating new access. But I will say this energetically, it's not a bad thing, because the whole point of all of this kind of figuring out is, in fact, to actually be better, to gift us. But if we don't do this, though, in a responsible way, like if we don't look at technology in a more responsible way, it will disrupt us, disrupt in a big way. So that's why your techie mind is feeling that, and it will be, it's going to be feeling that for a while. Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
don't know if I have a hot topic. This is just maybe this is a hot show. There's a show that I've been watching, and I wonder if y'all have been watching it. Just wondering. Oh, wait, before I say my show, Daria said, I saw a clip of someone speaking about that bill, and I was thinking, what the fuck? Yes. Yeah. It's gonna see a lot of what the fuck? Like, that's gonna happen a lot. Just there's gonna be a little bit of that, because we're going through so many changes. So I have a new little show that I wonder if y'all are watching on Hulu. And I may be old to the party. Everybody might have been like, Kenya, but I've been watching.
No, just kidding.
I've been watching Unprisoned with Kerry Washington.
Telling me about it. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard good things. I haven't started it.
I think you will really appreciate it, because as a calm coach, you know all about inner child, and you know all about wounding. And so it's kind of trying to bring us into a therapist's world, but also her human kind of dysfunctional kind of world too. So Kerry Washington is this, I don't want to give it away, but basically she is a therapist. And so she gets on social media, and she, gives all these tips that therapists give now, or counselors or coaches give nowadays. But in her own personal life, she's got all this very interesting stuff going. And her father is played by Delroy Lindo, and he just got out of prison after years and years of prison. Right. And he's been in and out of prison. So she was in and out of foster care and living with ex-girlfriends of his. And she had a very disruptive, dysfunctional childhood. And now she's an adult trying to do therapy with other people, but you're also watching how her life is just as complicated. And one of the cool things about the show is they're really trying to talk about your inner child. So there's literally a little girl that pops up whenever something crazy happens with her that's like affecting her inner child. And the little girl goes, girl, what you doing? Like, we need to this. It is so funny, because the little girl is dressed just whatever Kerry Washington is wearing in that scene. The little girl is dressed in the same. It's funny, but it's also, I think those of us who, especially if you're in the land of mental health, I think people really have to remember, those of us who are in mental health, like, we are human too. And we got a lot of life and stuff. And that's probably what even brought us in the first place into getting into it. So it's a fun show. I'm only on episode, I think 5, but.
Yeah, I've definitely I've seen it kind of pop up on my feed, so I'll definitely add it to my viewing. I'm a Succession fan, so Succession in its final season. There's only one episode out so far. So yeah, that's what I've been watching recently. But yeah,
I'm way behind. I'm with my sister was the one that was like, make sure you watch it. So I'm like, okay. But all right, Danielle, yes, you said, is it good? I think so. And Daria said she hadn't started watching it yet. Yes, go watch it. Put it in queue. And you can binge watch it. It has all the episodes out. You don't have to wait.
Okay.
So our topic. Dun, 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 dun. Focus on dreams and stop chasing purpose. Yay or nay? So Danielle and Daria and Alicia and whoever else is out there, we'd love to hear. Do you think, yes, we should focus on dreams and stop chasing purpose? Or focus on purpose, stop chasing dreams? Or what? So, Keishawn, I have a backstory as to kind of how I got to this. So I want to be able to kind of say it, and then I want to hear your thoughts about this.
Okay.
So there is a YouTuber named Stephanie Perry who is outstanding. I think she's very, very good. Yes, I'm promoting Stephanie, so check her out. And her focus is on Black women and Black women taking sabbaticals and taking rest and travel and so forth. And so she had, I think it was probably just a quick reel or story or something on Instagram. And she was like, the way she edited it, she was like, stop chasing your purpose. Stop chasing purpose. Stop. And then she was like, you need to focus on your dreams. And she broke it down more into, as Black women, this whole kind of mindset we've gotten into of, being so serious and chasing purpose and these careers and these areas and forgetting our dreams, which are so tied into our joy and tied into our pleasure and tied into our rest, that we're just so focused on this purpose that can put us so much in work mode, we're losing sight of ourselves.
Okay.
And so it really resonated for me, because I know we push so hard to say, go after your purpose. Oh, I think I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Can you hear me? Okay, there I go. I'm like, am I frozen? What's the Matrix? Anyway, and I just like the idea of challenging us as Black women. Are we forgetting about our dreams? Are we saying our dreams are too much? Are they not realistic? Is it easier to chase purpose? So I'm going to say yay on this. I'm going to say focus on your dreams and maybe pause chasing your purpose. That's what I'm going to say. But what's your thoughts, Keisha?
So when we first looked at this topic, I'm a person who likes to define things, like to really understand, like when we use terminology like dreams versus purpose, what is the real differentiation between them? So if you were to just look up a definition, like a general definition of the word purpose, it might be defined as like the reason for which something is done, or the reason for which something is created, or the reason why something exists, right? So then if we look at dreams, it's a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep, or a cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. So the idea of saying chase one versus the other, it's like, aren't they kind of the same thing? Are they synonymous in a sense? Because if I think of purpose as it relates to a person, if your purpose is the reason that you're here, or what you believe is the reason why you were created, and your dream is a cherished aspiration or an ambition, then it seems like they're very closely connected. So the idea of dividing them and looking at them as two opposite things might be a little challenging at first. So when I think of it as, if a dream is and I'm not talking about like dreams that you have like when you're asleep at night and you go to a different world, for those of you who do the astral projection thing like I do. I'm not talking about dreams in that context, but I'm thinking of like a dream, like an aspiration, something you aspire to become, or a dream that you have for yourself or your business or your relationships. And then your purpose is kind of, well, for me, I think of my purpose as the thing that I measure everything by. It's like, is this in alignment with my purpose? Is this actually serving my purpose? Does this align with what it is that I think I was created to do, or why I was placed here in this body at this particular time in space? And so the idea of chasing either of them can feel exhausting, because it feels like I'm running towards something that I already am. Your purpose is something that people sometimes discover. They discover their purpose. Oh, I'm walking in my purpose. Or, wow, okay, boom, I had a great experience and I think this is why I'm here. Or chasing an aspiration or chasing an ambition, it's like, if it's your dream, if it's your aspiration, if it's your ambition, do you really need to be chasing it? Or maybe your focus should be less on chasing it and more on creating the space for it to just exist, especially if it came from you in the first place. So this was a tricky question for me to answer, if it was like a yay or nay, because I was like, well, wait a minute, they're both already mine. So why am I chasing them in the first place? How did they get away from me? to the point where I think I need to go chase them? Or what is it that makes me feel like I'm separated from them that would give me reason to think I need to go out and pursue them? That's where I kind of
Mm.
landed.
See, Keyshawn went all into the intricacies and the layers and definitions. No, I totally I hear you. It's interesting. I think because I can relate to two big aspects of my life, where I don't think I knew my purpose. Right. I didn't under that was I was having a really difficult time understanding, in fact, what my purpose really was. And so it was leaving me kind of just like, okay, so what am I? Why am I? Who am I? What have you? And because I got so caught up in figuring out my purpose, I wasn't paying enough attention, honestly, to the things that actually were already, yes, in my possession, those things that I already just kind of desired. So I was getting very kind of like, frustrated. And it took really me going into like a whole spiritual retreat to be reminded, to your point, of remember who you are. Remember who you are. And so at that point, it's like, well, in that point of my life, I was really feeling like, I know I'm a creative. I know I'm an artist. And I have dreams of being, in music, but I could never do that. I used to tell myself that over and over. I could never do that. That's totally unrealistic. There's no way I could potentially do that. And so it left me feeling very empty because my dreams didn't feel realistic. So I just was like, I guess I don't know what I'm gonna do then. And so I had to finally release this idea of purpose for a moment. I had to release it for a moment because it was making me feel like do the right thing. And my dream, like the artist, it didn't feel like purpose per se. It just felt like I needed it. Like I needed it. And so it was me really focusing on my dreams and understanding that this didn't have to look pretty. This didn't have to make sense. This didn't have to be realistic, but that I needed to go for it because it was something that I was just missing so badly. So once I focused on my dreams, then and got really involved in the arts and really involved, then the purpose started showing up more. Then I started really understanding, oh, this is less about me singing and more about me serving. Like this is less about me being an artist and more of me being a vessel and so it's what got me to better understand my purpose, at which time then I didn't have to chase it because I allowed myself to actually focus on my dream. And I think Daria might have said this. She said in the comments, so I'm going to pull it up because I relate, Daria. This is kind of what I'm trying to say. I think dreams can help us fulfill our purpose. Mine did. Me really focusing, letting go of this kind of structured way of thinking really did allow me to have the purpose kind of come about.
Heard. I hear that. And it's interesting because as I think about it, when I think about dreams, like in the context of it being a desire, an ambition, a place that we want to kind of end up. And I think of it how that relates to my purpose. I'm like, well, my purpose is just to experience life, to just be free, to be, chill, to eat good food and have good
Mm,
connections. And so if I think of like why I exist, why I'm here, what I'm here is less about what I'm here to do, because I think that sometimes when we think of purpose, we think of it like it's task oriented
yes,
or it's
right,
like
right.
it's destination oriented. And we feel like, okay, when I take my last breath, I can sit back and say, yes, I achieved my purpose. But it's like that might not be the reality for you. I feel like there was a time in my life where I did feel like there was a place that I needed to arrive to where I could put my flag in the ground and say, boom, I am in my purpose. I have arrived. Now I'm starting to shift my understanding of that and recognize that I was created to experience life in whatever capacity that is, and it was less attached to my ambitions or my desires because I recognized for me that the more vast that my dreams became, the more specific that my ambition started to grow. I started to feel
Mm,
less and less connected to my purpose of just existing in life and just enjoying life. So I have to be intentional about that because I know for those of us who are, watching this now or watching it later, for those of us who are really big dreamers, and for those of us who are super ambitious, sometimes our dreams can get heavy. They can feel
mm,
daunting. They don't feel as light and airy and exciting and tasty and juicy and delicious as they once were because when we think about dreams as an ambition, then ambitions require planning and structure
yeah,
and strategy and
right.
measurement. And it's like, yuck, I don't want none of that. Let me get back to my purpose. What's my purpose again? Why am I here?
Well, that's, I think, so you're saying something. This is the thing I want to encourage, those of you watching. Stop making your dreams be heavy. Like this is your playtime. This is your, it's really hard to, I think as Black women, our ability to play and not be productive. Literally just to, yes, waste maybe some time. Like literally just, nope, it had no purpose to it. No, I don't know why. I don't care. Just to sit in that. And it's gonna be uncomfortable as Black women, period. Because there's no spaces that say, hey, just go play, Black woman. And don't think about what your kids, what your mama, what your aunt, the person that died who may be looking over what Jesus said. Just for a moment, just disconnect and play and dream. Like get in that playful energy, because when you get into that playful and imagination, then you're not tying that dream to all the things that you're saying that now it's like, oh well, man, if I do that, then I got to go do that, and I guess that, so I that dream is dead because I know because we have now made the dream no longer a dream.
We made it into a job. We made a dream into a job. So then we're
Yes.
thinking, okay, wait a minute. So are all of the things that I can potentially imagine, cook up, think about, dream about, are they just going to become another task on my ever growing, ongoing, constantly expanding list of things to do? And if
Right.
that's the case, then yeah, I definitely don't want to have to chase or pursue those things. I'd rather just chill because maybe that's all I'm here to
That's
do,
what you maybe be here to do. We have some good comments, so I'm gonna put one up,
Oh, Dr.
Dr. Fanike.
Fanike, what's
Yes.
up?
Play is so important. Yes, it connects us to our creativity and sacral chakra. Okay, so you're going there, Dr. Fanike. This is, yes. So the spirituality aspect of the body soul connection aspect of play and creativity, and how that actually connects us to divinity and connects us to our soul, which then informs us on purpose. Like it's so important to play, you guys. That is why I think this is why we get so much out of the arts, because the
Mm,
arts give us a sense of play.
mhm,
And when we have that sense of play, there's a levity that starts to happen for us. And that levity, it opens up our chakra. It opens up so much of us. So yes, I have
we
another
don't
comment. Oh, go
oh,
ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. Oh, karma, I saw that. Yep, I wanted to quit this whole week. Girl, you are not alone.
Girl, and you cannot quit, Karma.
You're not
Karma,
allowed.
y'all need to follow Karma. Y'all, she is an amazing, amazing. This is Keyshawn's sister, for one, so that already makes her amazing. But two, she is a sensuality choreographer and dancer and instructor. And girl, you are giving us all the play that so much play. So yeah, you can't quit. But I get it. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it beyond. I get it.
Yeah,
What's
I like oh, are we still here?
No,
Yes,
no, no,
okay.
go ahead. I was trying to get it off. Go ahead.
It's okay. I like also what Danike, chimed in on is I think that sometimes we arrive at a certain place. I was just talking to a friend about this morning. We went and met for coffee and we had sweets and we had kiki and conversation, and it was a moment where we lost track of time a little bit. It wasn't necessarily super scheduled, but like we talked about last week, we did schedule the date, the coffee date.
We did.
We just scheduled a date so that it would happen. But once we got there, there was no agenda, there was no structure,
Yeah,
there was no
yeah.
intention of the conversation. It was just to have the playful time. And at one point, we were both laughing so hard in this little quiet coffee shop that we looked around. I was like, oh, we just making all kind of noise like some loud ass kids, but we had a
Yes.
great time.
Yes. And when you connect with your sisters like this, your girlfriends, your friends, your sister friends like this, it also opens up probably more energy of your dream because you're kind of releasing it. Even in your conversations, if you can keep it in that energy, you may be more apt to talk about some of the things. God, girl, I just wish. How many of us do that? Girl, I just wish. And then we
Mm,
go into, and I think we can't keep saying, yeah, oh well, now let me get back. No, I mean, we have to for a moment to say, I wish, and let me sit with that some more, let me
yeah,
sit with that some
yeah.
more.
And what
Yeah.
I like too is, I'm working very intentionally about language that I'm using when I'm thinking about things that I want to experience in my life. And I heard something recently that said, instead of using the phrase "I wish" as if
Mm,
it's this far off thing that we're waiting for some magical genie to come and tap us on our nose and say, "Boom, here it is, wish granted." To say, wouldn't it be nice if, or I really look forward to when this particular
oh,
experience is, or right now I think I'm ready for this, to happen. And sometimes it's just a flip of a switch, it's just like a slight tweak. Because sometimes when we think about our dreams, like in context of this conversation, sometimes dreams feel like wishes. They feel like
mhm.
something that's so far off that in order for it to actually show up in our lives or to manifest in our lives, that all these pieces have to fall into place. Otherwise, it just stays on the Dreamcast and never actually becomes a reality.
Right.
So
So,
giving ourselves room to play, I think, is a big part of that.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And we have to keep reminding each other of this, and say these things to each other. I'm in a season right now where I'm really kind of, and I posted this on social media, and my next podcast episode next week is going to be about this, about friendship after 40, like this whole life after 40 and how we nurture friendship differently at this phase of our lives versus how we may have done friendship when we were 30 something, 20 something. And I know for me, those intentional dates, those intentional, moments where we're doing that stuff with our girlfriends, also giving each other the pep that we need. Girl, go, what are you dreaming about? Are you doing that? Are you playing, like, really for real? What are you doing for joy in your life? And yes, talking is so funny. My niece, she's very good. She'll hear herself, I'm trying. She's like, no, I'm not trying. I am this, and literally being that deliberate, like, no, I am this, because your language has so much power. It just has so much, ability to inform your thoughts. So we've got a nice Karma and Dr. Fanike. They are motivating each other. Dr. Fanike, thank you
I love
for.
that. Yes, Karma, sis. Dr. Fanike is the woman that I connected with. She's streaming in from the Atlanta area, and we connected through an organization, and we are part of a wellness clique. Her and another practitioner healer, and another practitioner healer from across the country. So I'm
Mm,
super grateful that you're here. And yes, all the connections, all the net connections. I love it. I love it.
yes, and thank you. And I want to say, were you on Clubhouse, Dr. Fanike? Why do I feel like your name I feel like I saw your name or something on a room, but I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that I might have just made that up. So there might be another Dr.
Well,
Benitez somewhere.
we found each other on Clubhouse. So Clubhouse
Oh, so
did
it
create some
probably
dope
is. Yeah,
connections. It's very
Well,
possible.
oh yeah,
It's
because
very
you and
possible.
I, yeah, we did.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. So
And yeah.
I want to kind of back to this, those of you watching, and we're saying some really, kumbaya and girl, just go play. And Dr. Fanike said, yes, I know I saw that name. That name is unique.
She said, I am the only one. That's right.
Yes.
She is one of one. She's
Right.
the only one. Yes.
Right. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. But I know that sometimes when we talk about these things, it can be just like, girl, just do this. So KEISEAN, how do we help as sisters? This is why we're doing Black Her Story, to tell our stories. And we've kind of given you guys, some insight. We're not here to coach per se, but I do think this is a really important thing. And this is why I wanted to do this topic, because I so often, I can't tell you how often I have these conversations with women who literally abandon their dreams, like literally, like just don't, because the reality because it doesn't feel practical, because of money, because of responsibilities, family work, whatever. Literally, not only, I'm not into my dream, but like abandon them. And that's just really, to me, very, it's troubling for me as Black people, period, because that's the one area of our lives we do have control over. And so we can't like surrender to that. So I don't know, is there any tips or any things that you've done to ensure that energy is there for you, that you dream, that you play?
You've touched on it already a little bit, and I think a big part of it is building intentional relationships, creating a sense of community around you that maybe outside of your like regular circle of friends or your usual clique is. I have, some people use the term accountability partners or accountability buddies. I have like ambition partners. I have other people that recognize the importance of dreaming big, getting wild with your thoughts, thinking outside the box, and recognizing that when we have time together, whether it's weekly that we meet up or monthly that we meet up or virtually, like I do with the Wellness Click, it's a space that we create so that we can share our dreams and our ambitions with another person who's not necessarily your sister friend or your homegirl. It might be just that, but something about a collective community around you to hold space for your dreams while you're dreaming them up, and also to build sort of a nest around them so that when you forget, or when you decide that you're going to set it aside, or when you decide that you're going to abandon your dreams, this person or these people will be like, excuse me, remember this dream you put over here? What's happening with that? How can I support you with it?
Yeah.
What resources do you need? How can we help you flesh it out and make it more of a practical, approachable, digestible plan? What does that look like? And so I think that we're not meant to do it by ourselves. I think that sometimes we think that our dreams are they are precious, they are valuable, but sometimes we think our dreams are fragile. And I don't think our dreams are fragile. I think by the time we come up with it here, like I think it was Napoleon Hill or some other very old person who said, if you can conceive it, then you can achieve it. So once we can conceive of something, sometimes the difference between conception and accomplishment is that in between. And I think having people to stand in the in between with you is really valuable. So that would be something I would recommend.
That's huge. I think Karma said, I need one of those. Like, and that tribe, I know it can sometimes feel challenging to find that community, but it is really critical. And it may be a community of just you and one other. Like,
That's
community right. Does not have to
community
equal
of two. Just someone outside of yourself. Yeah. Exactly.
And to that point of, if you can dream it, you can. There's a song that does that says dream it and you can. I can't think of the song. But anyway, understand if you can also allow. So this is how for myself, I don't know if I have that tribe so much, because I always feel like I'm too much. Like now you can rock with me this way. I could come to KEISEAN and say, girl, I'm gonna go build a building because it came in my dream last night, and my Pisces in the 8th house said, and you'll be like, yes.
Yes. Let's do it. Let me start drawing out a sketch for you. Yes.
Whereas I feel like sometimes some of the people, and no, I love my community, so I don't want to, whatever, but I know that I tend to think way out of the box with things. And so now I'm comfortable with that because I know when I'm thinking out of the box that big, that's just to help me get it to here, in reality. But I really allow myself just to be like, okay, let me think way, way out, way grandiose, so that I can kind of, maybe actually do a piece of it. But the funny thing is this, every dream that I've had that was like, when it has actually shown up because I began to focus on it, the outcome was actually bigger than the dream.
Yeah.
I couldn't even dream what actually really happened. Like things that have happened turned out so much bigger. And I mean, as simple as like a house. Like I have always, I love houses. So if you know me, I'm addicted to HGTV. I've renovated a number of houses. I've built a custom. And when I say Kenya's not a carpenter. I know.
Like, no. I ain't swinging no hammers, y'all. I'm just visualizing what it's gonna look like.
Right. I hire a contractor.
Yes.
I show him my Pinterest board of the material, the rooms I want, and then we figure it out. But the idea is though, I'm really into homes and that. And one of the things that I had always wanted was a big front porch. And I could always like even visualize what this big front porch. And I remember there was a point in my life when I was really feeling trapped in my previous marriage. I was feeling like, okay, well, this is as good as it's gonna get, probably. this is as good as it's gonna get. And this house don't have no porch. So, I had kind of just left that, and I'm putting this in real basic so y'all can kind of like see just how there's no too small dream, no too big. So when I started to really open myself up and say, you know what, I don't want to keep living this suffocated life. And, I know that I'm going to need to get myself a new home and whatever. Again, porch was not in my head. I had abandoned that dream, that house dream. I'm really into houses, but I had pretty much, well, the first house that I saw that was like, this is going to be the house I get. What does it have? A beautiful big front porch. Beautiful. Yeah. In a block with no porches. There's not one porch in this block. No, my house is the only one. And this house not only has the porch, but it has done a lot of other things. And so this is what I mean about allowing ourselves, how we can abandon, but if it's really your dreams, a lot of times are actually your soul that's just trying to speak to you, to get your attention, to try to get you activated. So this is why dreaming is just so important, because if you think of it more spiritually and more holistically, it is the gift that the divine is trying to give us so that in fact we will get to purpose, to me, to real purpose, to real purpose.
Yeah. Heard. I like what Dr. Fanike said. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to poke this back up here. That's why we have to dream and release control of the outcome. We often cannot dream as big as what is coming to us. Yes.
That's right. Because I mean, even our most creative, outlandish, out of the box, wild dreams, we in our just human little finite minds will often almost immediately apply, how? We apply the how blanket on top of our dreams. And sometimes we literally like squelch the fire that starts off, like you said, that divine download, that divine insight, that divine activation that happens in us that creates these dreams. We apply the human how on top of that. And sometimes when we apply our human how to that, it starts to disconnect, or it makes the dream feel less possible, or we feel, less attached to it. It feels less real. And so abandoning it isn't that difficult because we're like, I don't know how that's going to come together anyway. So I'm going to put that over there.
Girl.
So like you mentioned earlier, letting ourselves be in the playfulness of the outlandishness of the dream being in the playfulness of the wild components of the dream and finding someone, like you said, maybe it's just one someone, or maybe it's a handful of someone's that are equally playful along with you. Or if they notice that you're starting to throw that human howl on top of it and start to quiet the dream, they're like, no, bitch, take that off. We're dreaming big here. Damn it. We're dreaming
Damn
big.
it. And this isn't, and you know, you guys, you know, listening, don't just think of kind of like, I talked about, the house or my career or whatever, but relationships.
Yeah.
If there is, a certain relationship that you want in your life, I think about this a lot with women who are looking for a relationship and, partnering with someone, how we get caught up again and the practicality of things, and in these, and we don't allow ourselves to have enough play in the space of connecting with people, and therefore we limit our kind of connections because we didn't free ourselves up to just, maybe this isn't the one, maybe this, whatever, but go play. Or let's say you have met somebody really, really wonderful. Don't get so quick. Is this the one? Can I make it one? It's like, no, just play, just enjoy the moment of it all, because it's going to inform you some kind of way. It's either going to be or it's not. And either way, it's doing what it's really came to do. So
Right. No, that's real. I think something happens as we mature out of childhood, that this idea of what it means to be an adult often means that we have to exclude play from our lives. It's no longer something we're allowed to do, or we operate with the mindset that the only way I can play hard is if I work really, really hard and then I get to earn play.
Yes.
And play is not something that we earn. Play is just something that we get to experience. Play is something that we get to try out, that we get to be in. And it's okay to be in that. And sometimes if we don't afford ourselves the opportunity to be at play, and we're stuck in this work cycle and we're never giving ourselves a chance to just kind of be free, then hell yeah, we're going to abandon dreams, because dreams feel like a disruption to our work. They feel like a distraction to our work. So I think that when we think about chasing dreams, maybe it looks like doing cartwheels toward the dreams. Maybe you're spinning around in circles towards the dreams. It's not like a straight shot, super focused. Maybe it's a different approach. Maybe you're crab walking or breakdancing toward your dreams. I think giving yourself some room for that is important.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is good. We're gonna be shifting in a moment. If anybody has anything else, Carmen said thank you both. She's sending
You're
us
welcome,
love.
sister.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I so the last thing I'll say about this, and and I'll let you, if you want to say one last thing. And anybody, if you have a question, or if you're struggling maybe in this area of really getting into your play or dreaming, or you feel like you're too attached to doing or productivity, we're here to have these conversations, to support, offer love, hug, whatever we can do. But I will say this, and again, I'm a really underscore as Black women, because we historically, we have worked ourselves so hard that I think we're even losing track of really what are our joys, what are our needs. And to your point, because of the impracticality of it all, we've almost been taught, not even just do we feel it, but I think we've been taught to also, well, what you gonna do with that? So, what you gonna do with that? How you gonna make that be? And where is that gonna be this? Well, okay, that's fine, but you make sure you also do. And then when you're like, okay, well, I gotta make sure I also do. Well, now I don't got time to dream. So I had to make sure that I also gotta do. So I really implore you to, to sit on this idea of, how can you don't need to have this really figured out, but you already naturally have a dream. You already naturally have these things that are play, and start to give yourself more permission slip. And you don't have to tell nobody, really. Don't tell nobody about it. You don't have to tell anybody about it. We're also in this world where we have to somehow feel this urgency to share. You don't at all. This does not have to be a public declaration.
Mm.
And those of you who really do feel like chasing purpose is really primary in your life right now, I don't want you to be guilted out of that either. I think that depending on where you're at and how you are going about that, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. At the same time, are you playing? Are you dreaming?
Right.
Because if you
Right.
find that you are only chasing this purpose and it's tied very much to your worth and your work, I want you to, I don't know, think about that some more. Release a little bit of that.
Yeah, leave room for, and I think for those who are at a stage in their life where they're still discovering what their purpose is, or they're still asking the why am I here questions, or what am I here to do questions, there might be room for you to invite dreaming into some of those answers. What am I here to do? I'm here to dream. Why am I here? I'm here to dream. I'm here to imagine. I'm here to play. And maybe through your playfulness and your dreaming experiences and your imaginations, you might discover purpose within that. So I think
Yes.
there's room for both of these practices or both of these discoveries to coexist. We don't have to abandon one in exchange for the other. I think that, to your point, Kenya, that we as Black women in particular have been programmed, raised, taught to operate in practicality first and everything else secondary if it even is allowed to exist. And sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm allowed to be a little irresponsible every once in a while. Okay? I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to snooze the alarm. I'm allowed to turn my phone off. I'm allowed to
And it's not
reschedule something. It's
irresponsible.
not
But
irresponsible.
you see how quick
That
we'll think
it
of,
feels like, yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah. It's like,
irresponsible is when you're neglecting somebody
yeah,
intentionally, and you
yeah,
just let
don't,
things be all fucked up
yeah,
like that.
don't
But
neglect people, but yes.
but yeah, but we are so tied to,
But
and
we are.
responsibility is important. Like, don't get it
Yeah.
twisted. At the same time, it shouldn't take so much precedence over our
Mm.
dreams and over
Mhm.
our ability to have fun and to
Yeah.
play, and
Right.
not wait for somebody's birthday, and not wait to get lit, not have to have alcohol and substances to get us there.
Right,
You
right. Or
know?
not save it up for those 2 weeks out of the year that you get to take a vacation, if you get to do that. Or I like what you said too earlier about just being aware and mindful of who you share your dreams with. And I know for some, they think, "Oh, I don't wanna share my dreams with someone because I don't want them to shit on my sunshine. I'm not trying to tell nobody because I don't want them to try to talk me out of it." Yes, I agree. I tweeted about this a couple weeks ago. Sometimes it's better not to share with certain people because certain
Yeah.
people will infuse their fears into your
Yes.
faith-led plans, or some people will infuse their fears onto your dreams, and it doesn't take much, especially if it's a new dream. You thunk it up just a couple of minutes ago. Be intentional about the person that you share it with, if you share it with someone, and make sure that the person that you're sharing your dreams with is a safe container for someone who's going to help you
Absolutely.
activate it, and someone's going to help protect it with you, and know that that might not be everyone. So,
You just said a word, because that was one of my biggest downfalls, was that I was sharing my dreams into too many spaces that they really couldn't be the container. So it was no fault of theirs. It wasn't like they were trying not to support me. It just
mhm,
wasn't that one, I wasn't showing up as my full self. And so
yeah,
I think that they were being misinformed. I was misinforming people on me. Here I was
mm,
projecting this certain
mhm,
self. So then when my more dream, but like when I started really getting into this, it was like, well, who is that? And it wasn't like they were saying that, but it was just this, oh, okay, and it's like,
uh-huh,
oh, I'm really
mhm,
excited about this though. So
yeah,
please, yes, find your safe spaces. And once you start really getting into this, though, you become your safe space. It's like,
you do,
I don't, you, yeah, I mean, it's good. You want to have other people, obviously. But again, it only has to be like one. And I think I have maybe 2 or 3
mhm,
safe where I can really dream really, really big consistently and say
yeah,
the things. And it's always held. So
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. All right. We're going to begin to wrap up, but we have to spotlight. And we're getting lots of thank yous for us having this
thank you.
conversation. So awesome, awesome. Anything you'd like to spotlight this week?
Hmm. It's something very simple, but it's a self-care practice that I think is often overlooked. I decided to invest in this giant 64-ounce water bottle from Amazon,
This is
and the
water,
reason
not coffee. So
and
I'm just letting you
the
know.
reason
It's just
why
cuter
is
on
because
camera.
I recognized that I wasn't hydrating as much as I had been, and I say this for women of a certain age. You may be able to relate to changes. We talked about pelvic floor a couple weeks ago, changes in bladder control, and I noticed that I was lessening my intake of water because of a concern about that shift. And I was like, no,
No,
stop
girl.
dehydrating yourself, weirdo. Drink some water. So I decided to order a giant water bottle. So my spotlight today is to make sure that you're doing the simple things for yourself and recognize that self-care doesn't always have to be a big extravagant action. It could just be something as simple as making sure that you're drinking enough water. So that's all I have today.
I am so glad. Do not stop drinking your water because you're afraid you're gonna pee on yourself. That just means that you have. And this is why we are going to be. I will be making some announcements soon about a event I'm gonna be having around our vaginas. So stay tuned.
Vagina event loading.
Yes, we're gonna have a vagina event loading because things like yes, and I know. Listen, we're all guilty. It's like, well, I better not drink that before I go to such and such because I would pee. And it's like, yeah, you gonna pee. It's all right. We gotta figure out. So that's a good one. Yes, get your water. And I always have. This is my Zoom and on camera mug, but it's
cute.
always water.
I love it.
It's always water.
Okay.
That was actually gifted to me by a client, dear person. So that was really. I'm going to spotlight if you are in Chicago or if you decide to come and visit. Wait till the summer for one. But anyway, if you decide to visit our lovely city, no, don't wait because this thing I'm about to spotlight, I don't want you to wait. But if you're in Chicago or you come to visit Chicago, there's an area in Chicago called Bronzeville, which is a neighborhood in the south side of Chicago. So if you've heard of Hyde Park or you heard about Barack Obama, where his house is, or University of Chicago, that's all in an area called Hyde Park. Well, just a little bit north of Hyde Park is a Black neighborhood that's really, it's historically was very big, and then it's gone through changes and shifts, and so they're trying to rebuild it. It's called Bronzeville, and there is this really lovely, spiritual, just yummy space called Haji Healing Salon, and Haji is spelled Haji, and it's owned by a Black woman named Aya. And in this space, I'm spotlighting Aya and her Haji Healing Salon because when you go in it, you literally instantly feel like, wah. And so half of the space she has from incense and candles and herbs. She always has tea for you ready. She has a ritual bar where you can make your own tea, put your own bath salts together. She has spiritual books, oracle cards, all the things you want just to have the yumminess of that. And then on the other side, she holds classes like yoga classes, workshops. I did an astrology workshop. And so go to Haji. I get my butter creams and lotions from there. And I actually am doing a special residency there where once a month, the very last Sunday of each month, I do astrology self-care sessions. So we're going to begin that in April, but beyond coming in, and if you come visit, if you see me there for that, the rate is much, much lower to do those sessions because we're really making it accessible to the community because it is in a Black community, and we want our brothers and our sisters to engage in their spirituality and in their wellness in more holistic and alternative ways. So check out Haji Healing Salon, Haji Healing Salon in Chicago. She's also on Instagram, so Haji Healing Salon. I think that's just all one name. So you can follow her and see. She always does really good reels and spotlights. And the NAP ministry, when we were talking about rest is resistance, Trisha Hersey has also featured Haji. She has mentioned them as one of her 5 top places to go to in Chicago. So check it out. Check it out. Check it out. So I think that's it. Darius said a veggie event. Girl, yes.
Yes.
We're having a virtual.
Virtual vagina.
It's happening in June. I'm planning it now. Tickets are not on sale yet. Yes, there are tickets, unless you're part of my Patreons. No tickets for you. You're free. But Yes, we're going to be talking all about the veggie. Anyway,
Yes,
all righty.
I
Well,
love
this
it.
has been fun. Any last
It
minute
has.
thoughts, comments?
Last minute thoughts. Nothing at the top of my head that's coming up except no, this has been a great conversation, and just thank you to everyone who tuned in live, and thank you for your comments and your questions and your appreciation and your encouragement. This is something that these conversations I think are so valuable. And I have, a couple of friends who were like, I was watching last week. I didn't say anything in the comments, but I was there. I'm like, cool, great. As long as everyone is getting something out of this. And that's my hope, is that this is a space where we can share through our own lived experiences. We can share our resources, we can share our spotlights, and hopefully this encourages these conversations to continue
Yes.
between women and their friends, their sister friends, circles, their cliques, their families, whomever, so that we can start to normalize conversations like this. And I think that's really important for us to know, that if we don't ever explore these topics or these concepts or these ideas, that we're really preventing ourselves from deepening our connection with each
Mm,
other and deepening
mm.
our connection with ourselves. So I'm glad that this space has been created, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, we'll be back. I'll have a different background again because I'll be on the
I
road
might have a different
again.
background too. We're just gonna change it every week just for fun. We're gonna be like,
Guess where
and
Keishawn
this
and Kenya are?
is where in the world are
Where
we?
in the world are they? I will be with my boys. Jesus Lord, I'm sure they will come into the camera, but yes, I will still be here though. So,
Wonderful.
all right. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. We will see
Yes.
you. All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Oh, make
Bye,
sure you
everybody.
subscribe. Yeah, if you're not subscribed to our channels and stuff, push the notifications so that
There
you
you
can know
go.
when we're back. All right. Talk to you
Yeah.
guys later. All right.
Bye.
Bye.